Well, we are looking closely at a deal right now. The head negotiators are in Hawaii trying to clinch the final deal. So it looks like by the end of the year, we could in fact have a deal in place. And Malaysia would be one of the key winners because it's all about market access. It is about the access to some of the global world economies, biggest economies like the US, like Japan. And if Malaysia can get that, it'd be a great boost for Malaysia's manufacturing industries.
Now, the U.S. has been pushing hard to get this deal wrapped up, but the Trade Minister of Malaysia is saying that there will be no signing of an agreement by Malaysia in Hawaii this week.
Well, it's all about negotiating tactics, and certainly even after Hawaii, there might be certain issues that still need to be ironed out. Also, don't forget that whatever is decided in Hawaii needs to go back to the national parliaments, the national presidents or prime ministers, and they still need to sign off. So we aren't quite there yet, but currently it's about the technicalities of the deal, and we seem to be getting closer to it. What happens after that is a political agreement, and that's still something that in Malaysia or in other countries we have to go through over the second half of this year.
Now, Malaysia sees a TPP as one step towards being part of a multilateral framework and saying the WTO negotiations are a snail's pace. So is this truly a stepping stone then for an economy like Malaysia?
It would be a stepping stone because remember, most of the global negotiations have really stalled. So the WTO negotiations, for example, haven't gone anywhere. And so we have now alternative arrangements. And what we have with the TPP is an arrangement that comprises 40% of global GDP. The US is part of it, Japan is part of it, Canada will be part of it, Australia will be part of it. And what's in it for Malaysia is really preferential access to these big consumer markets. And Malaysia could then start to outcompete other countries that have not joined this particular pact. And that's the advantage for Malaysia in joining.
Earlier this week, Fred, the U.S. State Department published its annual trafficking report, upgrading Malaysia to Tier 2 from Tier 3. Critics are saying that this was politically motivated to ensure the deal could get pushed through.
Well, there are always these conspiracies out there, but I suspect that these decisions were taken separately. They're two entirely different entities of the U.S. government that actually make these assessments. But it does mean for Malaysia that with that moving up a bracket on this particular report, there's now no really major blocking stone in the path for Malaysia to join the TPP. So from that perspective, we have removed one of the potential obstacles, and that means that the likelihood of Malaysia joining has only increased, therefore, this week.
How would the TPP push forward the reform agenda for an economy such as Malaysia?
So one issue with Malaysia is that Malaysia has in the last several years ridden the boom of strong commodity prices, but unfortunately with China's slowdown, commodity prices have come off quite a long way, and therefore we need a new growth driver. And Malaysia has in recent years lost a little bit of sort of market share in manufacturing exports, and in order to revive that particular sector, having preferential access would be very helpful. If you think about electronics, for example, Malaysia is still a big producer, but hasn't really gained market share since about the late 2000s. And so to re-energize the Malaysian electronics industry, for example, this would be one beneficial trade agreement.